All right, let's talk about something that's super common, but honestly can be pretty confusing: vaginal discharge. In this explainer, we're going to break down what's totally normal and healthy, and then get into those signals your body sends when maybe, just maybe, it's time to pay a little closer attention.
Okay, so let's get right to it. What's the difference between normal and not so normal? Well, healthy discharge is usually kind of white or milky, and it really shouldn't have a strong smell. But your body has some pretty clear ways of telling you when something's up. If you notice a shift to a yellowish color, a foul odor, or if there's pain or itching involved, those are all signs that could be pointing to an infection. So what's actually causing this shift? From everything being fine to not so fine. Let's dig into some of the really common, everyday things that can actually set the stage for a bacterial or fungal infection. First things first, let's talk hygiene. Now look, the vagina's natural moisture is a good thing, it's healthy, but it can also become a perfect breeding ground for bacteria if things aren't managed well. And we're talking about seemingly small stuff here, like not washing properly after sex, not being super consistent with hygiene during your period, or even just leaving the area damp after a shower. All of that can create the perfect environment for an infection to start.
And it's kind of wild? It's not just hygiene. The stuff we wear and the products we use can make a huge difference. Think about it. Really tight jeans that make you sweat, or synthetic underwear that just traps all that heat and moisture. Even some artificial lubricants and creams can throw off your body's natural balance, which basically opens the door for problems to develop. But it's not just about what's on the outside, right? What's going on inside our bodies plays a massive, massive role. For example, if you're not drinking enough water, you can get a buildup of toxins. High stress levels can completely throw your hormones out of whack. And these internal triggers, especially those hormonal shifts, can make you way more susceptible to getting an infection.
All right, so we've talked about the causes. Now for the really important part. How do you know when it's actually crossed the line into an infection? Let's get into the very clear warning signs your body is sending you. So how do you really know? Well, it's usually not just about the discharge itself. An infection often brings along other pretty distinct and uncomfortable symptoms that are basically giant red flags. Okay, here are 4 big ones to look out for. Number 1, pain. Specifically, feeling pain during intercourse. Number 2 is discomfort, like pain in your lower stomach or when you pee. 3, you might notice that your underwear is just constantly wet or stained. And finally, number 4, odor. We're talking a foul, unpleasant smell that's really strong and hard to miss. Any of these, but especially if you've got a few of them together, are clear signals. Okay, I get it. It can be really tempting to just ignore this stuff and hope it clears up on its own. But, and this is a big but, ignoring a potential infection can lead to some really serious long-term health complications.
Yeah, this is so much more than just a bit of discomfort. We need to be super clear about this. The consequences of not dealing with it can literally affect your health for years to come.
So what are we talking about here? Well, an infection that's left alone can actually travel up into the uterus. And that's where things get really serious. We're talking about the risk of infertility, complications during pregnancy like miscarriage or premature birth, and even other issues like irregular periods. The stakes are just incredibly high. So, with all that heavy stuff in mind, let's turn to what is absolutely the most important part of this whole conversation. What can you actually do about it to protect yourself?
And honestly, this quote from our source material just nails it. The key, the absolute key, is getting it treated in time. I know it can be hard to talk about this stuff or to make that doctor's appointment, but waiting can have truly devastating consequences.
So what's the right move? Look, you can probably find a million home remedies online, right? But please, hear me on this. They are not a substitute for professional medical advice. A doctor is the only one who can figure out if it's bacterial or fungal and give you the right treatment to prevent all those serious complications. This is not something to guess about. Your long-term health is on the line. So we're going to leave you with this question. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Are you making your health a priority? Understanding the signs is great. That's step 1. But taking action? That's the whole game. It's about listening to your body and getting help when you need it. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.